اللهم صل على كما صليت على إبراهيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ضرب الله مثلا للذين كفروا امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط كانتا تحت عبدين من عبادنا صالحين. Respected brothers and elders, mothers and sisters in Islam, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us in the company of the righteous in this world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raise us amongst the righteous on the day of Qiyamah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fill our lives with mercy and rahmah, as all of us are in the need of the rahmah and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Can you check if this is closed? Close this? Yeah. Down. Yeah. Closed? Okay. The ayat of the Quran that I recited in front of you is from the 28th juz of the Quran. And this is the 28th Sipara, Surah number 66, verse number 10. I think they're going to take care of it in the back. They'll take care of it. So the surah is Surah At-Tahrim. So 28th Sipara, 28th Juz, Surah number 66, which is known as Surah At-Tahrim. And this is the beginning portion of the 10th ayat. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in this ayat of the Quran, ضرب الله مثلا للذين كفروا امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط كانتا تحت عبدين من عبادنا الصالحين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the Quran itself mentions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us example of disbelievers, the wives of Noah and Lut alayhi salam, who married two of the most righteous individuals, but they betrayed them. And subhanAllah, this ayat of the Quran is an example where the next ayat of the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the example of those women who believed, even though they were in the marriage of those that were not the most righteous, like the wife of Fir'aun and others. The example why I want to share this ayat with you is for the past few weeks I've been thinking about this a lot, is that how do we strengthen our next generation? Young people, youth, that's always been a thought of my mind is, how do we strengthen our young people? And one thing that always comes back to the point is, till we do not strengthen our family lives, we will never be able to strengthen our generations. That's one thing, is that we have to strengthen our family lives. Roles and responsibilities of mothers and fathers in homes, as communities, in order to strengthen the life of our youth. That's something that I hear this again and again in my mind. I feel it's important. In this ayat of the Quran, Allah gives us an example. And Allah says the example of those two women that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had put in the marriage of those who were the most righteous of the individuals, but they betrayed them. Ulama have given a very beautiful example that I want to give you a quick comparison of. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in one of the verses of the Quran where Ibrahim alayhi salam sees a dream. And Ibrahim alayhi salam says to his son, Ya bunayya, inni ara fil manami anni adbahuka fandur madha tara. My son, I have seen in my dream that I need to sacrifice you. What do you think about this? And his question was not about asking him for a consent, but he wanted to see how committed his son was for this cause. So only if we knew the beauty of the Quran in the Arabic language, he says, Ya aba tif'al ma tu'mar. Meaning his reply was so instant that he said, oh my dad, don't even wait, that you need to think twice about the obedience of Allah. Just do it. You will find me amongst those who are patient. So this is Ibrahim alayhi salam asking his biological son that I have to sacrifice you. And he says, my dad, I'm ready. You will find me amongst the patient. In Surah Hud, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions to us that Nuh alayhi salam asks his son, oh my son, come, irkab ma'na, join with me on top of this ark and this boat. A storm and azab of Allah is about to come, and no one will be saved except the one that who comes upon this boat with the amr of Allah, with the order of Allah. So the son says to his own father-in-law, he said, no, don't worry about it. I will run on top of the mountain, I'll go on top of Judy, and I'll take care of my own self. I don't need you. I can protect my own self. And the Quran says the mawj, the wave came and it took him and he was gone. Now, comparison between two sons in the Quran. One son of a prophet is willing to give his life on the command of his dad by saying that you saw a dream, fulfill it, my dad, and you'll find me amongst those who are patient. On the contrary, there's a son and the father is a Nabi and is his own biological son. And he says, I'm not even willing to accept the offers for you to save my life. What turned out so different? Right? Where one person is ready to give their life and the other is not. And all the ulama have a consensus upon this, is this ayat of the Quran is the answer. And the answer is a good mother. The answer is a good mother. Or it works both ways, or a good father. Because it has to be a combined effort. And forgive me, even if the person or the husband or the wife, either one of them become the most righteous of the individuals, and the other partner is not committed, husband or wife is not committed in that relationship, we won't be able to save our children. It has to be a collective effort from both the parents, the mother and the father, in order to bring change into that house. It is impossible. And I think one of the biggest roles in the lives of our children is how mothers bring deen into their own homes. I've heard this from many of my own teachers tell us this, that when a man becomes religious, the deen enters to the doorstep of that house. When a woman becomes religious, the deen enters that house. The deen has really entered that house itself. So it's a combination of both. It has to be. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us the example in this very ayat of the Quran with regards to the responsibility of the mothers and fathers at home if they really want to bring forth that change. We need to be the example. And I always remind myself, and I remind you, to not be those individuals who tell others, especially our children, do as I say, not as I do. A lot of time, this is the approach that we have. Do as I say, not as I do. A lot of time you must have heard, "Aisa karo jo main keh raha hu, wo main karta hu, don't worry about it." What is that? Our kids don't listen to us like that. They observe our actions, our deeds. We need to become truthful in our words in order for our children to speak the truth. We need to value the time in order for our children to value the time. We need to be, our akhlaq and our manners in our own homes, in our families, with our spouses, has to be the most perfect in order for them to be able to raise their generation and their spouses and relationships to be the best. We need to be the examples. The mothers and the fathers have to make that commitment. That if you want deen to remain in the life of your generations, we need to become firm. And more than ever now, brothers and sisters, more than ever now, the challenges that our young people are facing, and again, I fall in that category of those who might be in the very middle aspect of the entire thing. The challenges of our young people are so intense that it's very difficult for them to save their iman outside if they don't get the strength within their own homes. They are challenged. There are so many difficult challenges for our young people of their iman. For us, we think it's so easy for them. Why can't you hold on? No, it's very hard. If we don't strengthen our family lives, we will not be able to save the iman of our children and our generations. So I really hope that we as adults and parents step back a little bit and restructure how our homes are. It's very, very important that we have to be committed towards deen. We need to be focused towards our religion if we want our generations to have deen as well. And that's the example that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us. That even if the father was a Nabi, the son did not believe if the mother was not committed to it. And we cannot just think that it's going to happen naturally, or forgive me if I send my child to the masjid for 2 hours and they're going to be super religious and pious, and they'll be perfectly fine. It's the environment that we provide in our own homes every single day. Hours and hours that our children spend with mothers and fathers at home, that really needs to make that change. The month of Ramadan is a time of commitment. The month of Ramadan is a month of change. Brothers and sisters, I humbly request you that not only in Ramadan, but post-Ramadan, please keep yourself, your families, your children connected to the houses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Please remain connected. This is the biggest safety net for all of us. No matter how difficult the storms become, the anchor of the masjid will always pull us back. No matter how difficult the storms will become, we will always be pulled back towards safety when we are connected to our deen. If there is no connection, then the storms that are coming are so heavy that even those who might be strong in their iman will begin to tremble and shake. That's the halat and condition. The Nabi of Allah said, the time will come that holding on to your faith will be like holding into a charcoal, a burning charcoal. That's how difficult deen will become. But if we're connected towards the right environment, inshallah we'll be connected. So twofold things, inshallah, for all of us to take back from this very ayat of the Quran, the 28th Sipara, the 28th Juz, Surah number 66, Surah At-Tahrim. This is the beginning of verse number 10, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the example. Daraballahu mathalan, Allah gives you the example, the mithal, لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, amongst those who did kufr. Imra'ata Nuh wa imra'ata Lut, the wife of Lut and the wife of Nuh alayhi salam, كانتا تحت عبدين من عبادنا الصالحين. Even though they were underneath, meaning they were the wives of the most salihin and the righteous, but they betrayed them. And that betrayal not only affected them, but it affected their generation and they need to come as well. So mothers and fathers, make the commitment to make the right choices about your deen in your own homes. The young ones who are sitting here, who will make the choices of marriage and choosing the spouses in their lives, choose a mother that you can truly admire to say, that's the mother of my children. That's your haqq. That's one of the responsibilities that you have upon your children, even before the birth of it, is that you give them a good mother or a good father. That's the choice that needs to be made. Deen as bases and foundations. And of course, last but not least, be connected to the environment, be connected to khair. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us protected and protect our generations to come, inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka.